Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult, you're a salt adult. Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult. Throwing out a hissy fit, your views ain't in the millions, and every up and comer is a threat to what you're dealing. And instead of getting better, you just spout up on your Facebook, crying on your Twitter bit about how bad your case look. In case you didn't get it yet, allow me to rephrase it. You're more than my 4-year-old, I'm actually amazed. Like you couldn't even see the forest for the trees. The writing's on the wall, literally there to see. How you getting salted, a culture blowing up, man? I think there was a point where you stopped growing up, man. Instead of showing up, man, irrationally mad. Don't appropriate impression like the latest fashion fad. It isn't cool or funny to be acting like an edgelord. You alienate friends, pushing closer to the edge more. I don't know how to say it anyway to make it clear. If you're the one unhappy, then the problem's in the mirror. Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult, you're a salt adult. Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult. The net is a repository for the vast expanses of human knowledge and all the technological advances. And I can't say enough how you gotta be open-minded. If you're looking for a fight, then you damn well find it. You got an axe needs grinding, you're not alone. There's a million other nerds who can bitch and moan and groan about how there's a release date delay of the new.
Hi everybody and welcome to Retro Station 1989. I'm Commander Dan, the commander and lone human inhabitant aboard the Retro Station, and this is License to Play, where we evaluate retro games based on licensed materials. Like what? Well, comic books, movies, other video games, sneakers, and for one time we finally review a licensed video game from the 90s based on a breakfast cereal. Is what I thought. I never played our title up until this evaluation. So until a couple years ago when it finally came to the Nintendo Switch. I didn't play it then, but I did buy it so that we could play it now. And I did. So, I had this episode in mind for a while. Now, this episode isn't going to be the gossamer clouded nostalgia of a kid who played some game in the past and loved it, and it might not be the popular opinion. This is going to be the remembrances of a grown-ass man who played this thing online just the other day. And who, let's face it, likes video games a whole lot, and a balanced breakfast.
Commander Dan, great news. Planet X has elected a new supreme leader.
Really? Really?
Affirmative, Commander. No more
political ads! Yeah! Woo! 1936, and everything is pretty much fine. Unless you live in Europe. But America was going strong. We had movies with sound, kicked the bums and the crooks out of baseball, who then moved into professional wrestling, and we had shredded Ralston. No, it's not a strand of the Hobbit's leaf like Old Toby or Proudfoot Sour Kush. It's a breakfast cereal. Ralston Purina, the dog food company, also made breakfast foods and introduced the shredded Ralston, a product whose flavor knows no limits and was for the whole family. So I guess other cereals were adults only, like Kellogg's product Get Bent, Kid, and Post's Raisin Taxes. Because 1936 wasn't the best time to be a child. Probably you couldn't even eat breakfast cereal. Probably because you're running late for your swing shift at the asbestos factory downriver from the coal plant. Breathe that freedom, little patriot. So, the dog food people felt like the unexplored child market was unexplored profit margins, but hadn't created breakfast food to include children, or as they were known, disposable laborers, because the owner of Ralston Purina took some convincing that the child market wasn't based around human trafficking. But I kid. In all seriousness, your commander is from Lansing, Michigan, so I know the history of breakfast cereals like General Mills, Kellogg's, and, well, it's very boring. So let me just say this. The dog food people decided to make people food in the same way they make dog food, in bite-sized pieces. Because 30s industry was just the worst. It was terrible, actually. Social Security was just starting, and non-wealthy people weren't considered people. It's true. Look at that food line. But CHEX went through changes over the years, going from wheat-based shredded Ralston to CHEX, named after the Purina logo, to rice CHEX, to corn CHEX, to wheat CHEX, and now they're just called CHEX. So named because they resemble that checkerboard logo. See? Pet food. They still want you to know you're eating pet food. Because you are the pets of the wealthy. Don't you understand? But I kid our materialistic overlords. And it sure gives that dessert recipe puppy chow a whole new meaning, doesn't it, guys? Chex Mix is actually my kryptonite. It's my fruitcake, if you know what I mean. Maybe you don't know what I mean. First, let me welcome the new Space Pirates to the show. And if you haven't seen our first Christmas special, or the second, which is likely, you might not know this about my crew here aboard the station. They're freaking into fruitcake, man. I mean, I don't hate it, but they love it more than human parents love their children.
Did someone say fruitcake?
Splat, I was just talking about how you and Cambot Jr. and Margot like fruitcake.
Oh, yeah, fruitcake is perfect. You know that.
Wait. What are you wearing there, little buddy?
My superhero costume. If I my cosplay. You know, for cosplaying.
Uh-huh. Well, don't get carried away, little dude.
I won't.
Oh, okay.
Rorschblatt's journal. Commander of the retro station suspects nothing. My crusade will continue, and I will get carried away. Super crazy carried away.
I'm sure that's fine. Anyways, let's fast forward in our look back to a more enlightened age. The year 1996. Back to the 90s, people. And with the rise of home internet availability, even with the clunky speeds over the phone line internet, and with the advent of, optical disc technology, CDs for the computer, I mean, it was great. We saw things like X-Band for games, a network-based system that lets you play Street Fighter and other two-player games with other X-Band users. It cost a fortune, but so did Sega Channel. And even though I'd say Sega Channel was the better value, check out GameSec's epic episodes on both. But the point remains, the internet was big business until its profitability collapsed around the turn of the century in what they called the dot-com bubble. But anyway, getting free stuff was part of the cereal life. And life cereal, see? Either included in the box or by sending away box tops or labels for exclusive giveaways, cereal companies were directing their advertising to kids who needed toys. Ralston Foods at the time was ready to reinvigorate their brand with another cereal giveaway. So the cereal giveaway started with Corn Flakes, who shipped books to grocery stores as a free giveaway when a customer purchased 2 boxes of the corn-based cereal, which honestly could have been a collection of leper scabs for all the American public knew, and they haven't changed the formula on Corn Flakes as far as I know. But the mystery flakes included the funny Jungle Land Moving Pictures book. Now immediately, I thought this was going to be cover-to-cover racist and bigoted imagery, but as you can see, it's about as thrilling and funny as a Babar book. But I grew up in the 70s and 80s. Your commander is so very old and tired. And when I was growing up, corporations were able to advertise directly to our brains, children's brains, seriously. And they lied constantly. You know Quaker, the oats people? They made this abomination. King Vitaman, who perved on you while you ate his cereal. He had a lot of nerve staring at you while he's got a tablecloth for a frickin' bib. And the lie wasn't that this AARP catalog model was a king, but that there was a mask on the back of the box. And on the back of the box was this Hannibal Lecter-style horror show, which you had to cut out yourself. It was just a piece of printed cardboard made from a cereal box. I call shenanigans. That's it. I call shenanigans. But then, like I just explained, children have been exploited in this country since its inception. Don't believe me? The concept of free public education for all kids didn't catch on until the 1800s. And from there, think about this. America, our country, 'tis of thee, sweetest land of liberty, had to create a law to force companies to stop making flammable baby clothes, baby blankets, and infant medicine made out of poison. There had to be a law written, or else companies would just do it. Before that, the companies made baby clothes out of newspaper and kerosene, and the leftover kerosene was mixed with mercury to make Mama's Sweet Teat brand baby formula. There was a video game about this controversy, but you probably never played it. Anyway, when I was a kid, there'd be lots of things you could get from cereal boxes. Stickers, paints, anything they could fold up made of paper and jam in a box of corn-based sugar food. It was a prize, in the same way that child obesity was the prize for eating all this deep-fried vegetable scrap. One of the things I coveted to this day was based not on cereal, but of all things, Heinz ketchup. Check that out! It's a transforming bottle fighting food. I mean, it's so cool. Look, and it literally existed. That crazy thing you saw in the commercial was a real thing you could get. Sorry, got a little hyper there, but I still want one. And good Lord, they tried to serialize lots of things, and some failed to catch on. Like this one, Gentleman Cannibal. It was a box of Spam and dog food bits, and the mascot was Gentleman Cannibal, a cone of raw-ass meat, which was described as animal meat in the congressional hearings, which immediately followed. So at the store, if there was a cereal out there with a prize, in our house, it won. If the other option had none, no thanks. We even ate these, OJ's, corn cereal made to taste like orange juice that you should cover in milk. So like orange-flavored Cheetos drowned in milk? But we had to have that toy. It was a transformer. Well, it transformed anyways. From space shuttle to animated vibrator mascot. I don't know. That's not as weird as this artificial tit found in Quisp cereal. And from Starship Enterprise to a robot with the Enterprise's ass for a face. And here's one transforming motion. You just kind of fold it over. Sometimes there's all kinds of cool junk in those boxes. Flip book spoon toppers, which basically would mount a child or some animal on your spoon directly up its dookie chute, and more plastic stuff. And look, a box of horrors. That mouse. Look at him. Just look at him. Look at him.
This guy. This is not my kind of guy.
Seriously, though, I gotta say cereal was a weird part of 80s kids' childhoods. Check this out. The cereal companies knew they had us by the pancreas and got cocky and made grape-flavored corn cereal. Kellogg's. Get bent flavor. But the 90s had a couple weird ones, like Nickelodeon slime cereal and nerd cereal. And in all of this, CHEX was floundering. When everyone else used creepy kings and fake-ass Bobo transforming toys that GoBots would bully, CHEX couldn't give their stuff away. The 90s was a pretty great time to be a teen, too. And an adult. I was both in the 90s. And, I mean, come on. We had the AOL internet, and like the internet, we had a game that took over PC owners' time and lives as well. Doom. We'll talk Doom another time, maybe, because a license for a home use version was created, but just know that Doom, with its invention of deathmatch mode, was the Fortnite of that time. I was in college when it came out, and we dropped tons of hours into Doom. Speaking of, you can drop a couple hours into Action Button's Doom review, which is epic. All of these links will be in the description of the video. Ralston decided to do another good thing. Since the last time they did something nice for kids, it was legal to sell cigarettes to children as vitamins. And they had little choice because they were seeing their market share get drained off. And they wanted a piece of that sweet .com money. See, Doom, unfortunately, was part of the hysteria around violence in video games at the time. And kids wouldn't be able to play Doom. But General Mills was fixated on using Doom to sell their cereal, I guess, because CHEX decided to recreate the Doom experience, but with a coat of CHEX paint. And that's the game we're evaluating today, which is right here on my Nintendo Switch. But you'll have to take my word for it. Alright? Because ain't much I can do with that bad boy to show you, but I've got footage, you'll see. Yeah, but trust me, it's on there. Seriously, the game is called CHEX Quest, and it's, well, let's take a look. So, the game's development isn't all that interesting, other than General Mills and Virtual Communications, the media company, coming up with a way to offer a piece of software that'd be easy to distribute via CD-ROM, which was designed to stand on the back of Doom, and then cover it wall-to-wall in CHEX-related family-friendly science fiction. So they basically just created a WAD for Doom that transformed Doom into a fun way to advertise their grain-based breakfast product. But what is CHEX Quest? Let's take a look. The plot is simple. On the planet Bazoik, an asteroid shower reveals 3 blobs of green slime which prove to be a spreading species of snot called the Phlegmoids, which take over the CHEX Force facility, and it's your job to zorch those Phlegmoids back to their home dimension with what looks like an electrified television remote, but like most cartoon remotes, none of the other buttons do anything. That dimensional igniter is the only button that seems to work at all. Now, the CHEX crew is made up of Fred Chexter, the main character from the original, Wheatley, Wheat Chex, and then you realize that it's not a cereal game. It's a Chex Mix game. Foolers. They fooled me. And yeah, there's a rye slice and a pretzel and ew. Whatever that lumpy turd of a bread thing is. Ugh. I hate that. You don't think lumpy turd here looks like a turd that's both misshapen and lumpy? Here, let me help you visualize that. Yeah, that better? No, it's not, because that thing is the worst and it knows it. But then there's Knackle 96, a robot. Knackle, salt, funny. Anyway, simple plot and cute characters representing the savory cereal treat. And that bread thing, whatever that is. Oh, and there's a big square pretzel called Pretz. He's a robot too. And this game's on its way to earning that license to play, isn't it? Now, the game plays like Doom. Like. But the enemies aren't zombies and bloodthirsty demons from beyond hell. They're snoodily, bubbly slime creatures. They move like Roombas on strike, but don't let that fool you. They're sneaky bastages. These summoner birches are friggin' stealthy. There are 2 types of infantry flemoids. There's this pile of slime guy, and then there's the swole with legs and arms slime guy. There's one with one eye, but he's got a floating pod to fly him around. And then there's the ones with a pod and a pair of slime slingers that'll kill you quick, so you gotta watch out. And this game seems like it's for the littlest, frailest, most lame babies. But then the horror show begins. Okay, I exaggerate. But check this out. Ammo is scarce, so finding hidden stashes, which makes no frickin' sense because this is a CHEX base. They should have the ammo where you can find it. A damn armory, right? And the critters are playing possum a lot of the time, hiding and just sitting there like a big blob of snot. And if they swarm you and you die, there are no checkpoints. You can't save during the game. None, 0 zilch. This a-hole of a game goes from like riding a bike to like riding a bike on a plank of wood over the Grand Canyon. Don't wobble. So you have to do like a perfect run through every level without dying. The game has a hidden difficulty level, but overall, it's a great representation of the original game and the salty snack based on a breakfast food, and it's got a fun sense, and Fred Chexter's quips are actually funny most of the time. Check this out. But Fred's humor isn't in question here. No. There is a deeper, more dire question for the Chex Mix game. Of course, the question is, does Chex Quest have a license to play? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for what it does as a licensed game, of course it gets a license to play. It represents Chex, the brand. It's everywhere. And it's not annoying. I mean, it's monstrously hidden difficulty bullcrap is bullcrap. All right? We can all agree that's bullcrap. But on the other hand, the game is really kind of good, and you can get the original for free. I put the link in the description below, and if you don't believe me, don't take my word for it. Find it out for yourself. So I want to thank every new pirate that just came aboard. Thank you so much for signing on board to the Retro Station. I do appreciate it. Commander Dan is a loyal commander. So we're almost on my other channel. We're almost to the point where we're caught up to modern day. So once we catch up, both sites will get updated roughly around the same time. Probably exactly the same time. So yeah, and we've got more greatness coming. The next episode will take place in 2 weeks. Taking a little time because I've got I want to play more of the game that I'm going to be evaluating next time. And I've also got to wait for one game to come in the mail that was suggested by one of our viewers a while back in our comments section. I'll give you a hint. Shannon, where's our fucking dog? If you can guess what it's about, I'll give you no prize. If you can guess based on that crappy impression of Ozzy Osbourne, I'll give you a no prize. I'll give it right to your face. I'll send it. Well, I'll send it to your house over the mail. So, all right. Well, that being said, thanks everybody for stopping by to watch my show. I really appreciate it. Please like the episode if you liked it. Give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, shut up. You talk too much already. No, I'm kidding. Let me know in the comments what you didn't like. I can always fix the show. And if it's me, well then you're out of luck. But if it's anything, say what you like. I will respond. Generally with a thank you that you watched, because that's hard to get these days. So thank you again for very, very much for watching, but I've blathered on too long now. So, no matter what I said during this review, even if it bothered you, or what I said in the past that would have bothered you, or what I'm going to say next time that may bother you, remember to always, always, always stay retro. Peace.
Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult, you're a salt adult. Get upset on the internet, you're a salt adult. Throwing out a hissy fit, your views ain't in the millions, and